Sabbath Church. It is indeed just a real honor and blessing for myself and my father and our good friend Jim Lanning to be here, worship here on an extra special Sabbath. Because I think what's most exciting for me is to be able to express these words. Congratulations to the graduating class of 2017. By the way, it is the class of 2017, isn't it? Okay, I just wanted to make sure. So listen, from my vantage point, ladies, you're looking very beautiful. Men, very handsome. But I need you to do something for me because I want to take a picture of you so that I can post it on my Instagram and Facebook. Because you see, I live in Hawaii, and in Hawaii we have this little greeting, we call it a shaka. It means hang loose. I mean, it's a beautiful tropical island, lots of tourists. But we have this little sign that we give all the time. This is just a little sign like this. Can you guys do this? So you just fold the fingers. It's just your thumb and your baby. So it's just called the shaka. So we go around, we do this, and it means, hey, listen, hang loose, hang loose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a picture of you. But I need you to be doing the hang loose sign, okay? Because now all my friends and family in Hawaii, it's going to blow their minds. They're going to say, what do you mean? This is Thailand. They know the shaka. They know how to hang loose. So try it again. You got to hold your hand up so I can see it, right? This is hang loose. Okay, just 1 second. Let me get my camera here ready. So when I say 3, I want to see the shaka sign, all right? It's like you guys got it down pretty good. I'm impressed. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, shaka. Oh yeah, you guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. Gonna love this on Facebook and Instagram. Now listen, it occurs to me at a moment like this. Graduation, I've been to a number of graduations myself. There are only a few times in life, and you're gonna discover this as life goes on. There's only a few times in life that you are the center of attention. I mean, the absolute center of attention. This is one of those moments, graduation. I mean, think about it for a moment. I mean, everybody is here because of you. Every hug is for you. Every smile is for you. Every picture is for you. I mean, here I am taking pictures of you and I don't even know you. But it's graduation. This is your moment. Relish it. Enjoy it. Now, I did mention, you can look at my gray hair. I've been around for a while. You can tell this. I've had a chance to graduate myself a few times, get some diplomas. I've had the privilege of giving some speeches at graduations. But I'm always fascinated with, I've done some research on maybe some of the most unique or unusual graduation speeches. I came across one that I thought was a little unusual. It was a large university. The speaker that was coming for a commencement Sunday was a well-known man. And so all the music had been played, all the graduates were in place, sitting where they're supposed to, all the family and friends sitting out there. And now after this long introduction, for this very distinguished gentleman, it's finally his moment to step up behind the pulpit, give some words of wisdom and counsel to the graduates. So he gets out of his seat, he makes his way over here, stares out into the congregation, looks into the faces of the graduates, and he says, "You done good." 3 words, that's it. You done good. Then he spins around, walks back to his seat, and sits down. I would say that's a little unusual. Now, you need to understand that I too, on this very auspicious occasion for you, the graduating class of 2017, I too want to utter those 3 words. You done good. Because we want to honor you and hold you up today for what you have accomplished. By the way, I'm quite impressed also with your motto and your aim. I like it. You guys chose it, right? Faculty didn't do this for you, did they? Okay, this is something that you actually chose. Motto, behind is infinite power, ahead is unlimited possibilities. That's good. Aim, to weave the next dream. That's good. So one of my challenges for you is to, a year from now, still remember your motto and your aim. Do you think you can do that? Without having to go back and look at the program? Because this is good. Now look, your life is a journey. You are on a journey right now. Still early in life, graduating here 2017. But on this journey, and listen, I know that you know this, but I want to remind you because this is absolutely foundational. You've got to get this, and you've got to get it to this age. There are two foundational truths that you will carry with you the rest of your life. Truth number one, you were created by God. You were created by God. You are not here for this graduation this weekend by accident. You were created by God. Foundational truth number one. Foundational truth number two is that God has a purpose. God has a plan for your life. So I liked it a little bit earlier here today. Somebody read that or shared that passage of scripture from Jeremiah chapter 29. One of my favorites. God says, I know the plans that I have for you. Plans for good, not for evil. God says, I want to give you a future. I want to give you hope. Now that's Old Testament. You come to the New Testament, Jesus says, I have come that you might have life and that you might have it more abundantly. Two foundational truths. You're created by God. That's your identity. And God has a purpose and a plan for your life. He came up with this purpose and plan long before you were even born. That's the focus that you are on. Life is a journey. Now, I'm going to share with you a story I heard not too long ago, a story about a man who was on a journey. He was on a journey. This is a journey that he was traveling in. I would say this would be more like a third world country, kind of a poor country. And in fact, as soon as you got kind of out of the urban setting, the city settings, the roads aren't paved anymore. They're all dirt roads. And it's a tropical country, so you're looking at a wet season, you're looking at a dry season. And he began to notice that during the wet seasons, as he was driving along in his cars, he would notice that the trucks and the cars, their tires would sink deep into the mud and the quagmire because of the rain. It was very soft. And it would just create these really deep ruts. But then the rainy season went in and it would be the dry season. And then when it became dry, the soil was like clay and it turned hard as a rock. It was almost like cement. And so now you had these deep ruts. And as you're driving along, the car gets stuck in these ruts. And it's like you're stuck in a rut. He simply couldn't get out of it. So one day he's driving along and he notices that somebody had gotten a hold of a big piece of cardboard. And they got some paint and they wrote some words on this cardboard. And as he was driving by, he noticed what it said. And it simply said this: choose your ruts carefully. You will be in them for the next 40 kilometers. That's what it said. So he's driving along, he's stuck in a rut, he sees that somebody had painted a sign, and the sign said, choose your ruts carefully, you'll be stuck in them the next 40 kilometers. Now look, I want to take this story here on your graduation day and I want to turn it into a bit of a metaphor, okay? Because this is what I want to say to you, the graduates of 2017. This is what I want to say to you, and it's simply this. Choose your ruts carefully because you're going to be in them the next 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. Choose your routes carefully because you're going to be in them the rest of your life. So here I am. I have the best seat in the house, so to speak. I'm able to stand here and look down into your faces. This is your graduation. But what I want to say to you is that you are young, you are youthful. This is the rainy season for you. You are living in this rainy season. It's as if you can stare into the future and there's no ruts. You have the opportunity by the choices that you make to choose the kind of ruts that are going to be in your life. Now is the time that you are making these choices. If you choose good ones, you're going to be on a good path for the rest of your life. If you choose bad ones, they are very, very difficult to get out of. Now, this is something that I've observed. Your choices become your routines. Your routines become your habits, and your habits become the ruts of your life. So if you choose good ones, you're going to be heading down a good road. If you choose bad ones, they're very, very, very difficult to get out of. And so here you are. This is the rainy season of your life. And I'm here to remind you that during this rainy season, over the next very few short years of your life, you're going to be making some choices that will impact the rest of your journey, the rest of your life. So let me just remind you, these are some of the choices, these are some of the ruts that you're going to be creating, such as, well, what is going to be my life's occupation? What's going to be my career choices? You're going to eventually get married. I mean, you are going to fall in love, and you're going to marry somebody. I mean, these are choices that are going to impact you the rest of your life. You're going to be making choices as far as friends, and choices as far as your relationship with God, choices as far as your relationship with the church. Choose your ruts carefully, because you're going to be in them for the rest of your life. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I stand here and I can guarantee you, God has a plan. God has a purpose for your life. So I want to encourage you. I want to challenge you to consider some of these choices in life while it's still the rainy season. The ruts have not turned hard yet. You still have opportunity to make choices. And these are the choices that you're going to live with for the rest of your life. But here's some that I would encourage you to at least consider to choose, such as choose to honor God with your life. Choose to follow Christ. Make the choice to serve others. Be an impact player. In other words, don't be satisfied to just simply with your life sit on the sidelines. You want your life to count. You want to make a difference in this life that God has given to you. Choose your ruts carefully, because you will be in them for the rest of your life. This is the time to do it while it is still that wet season in your life. Choose carefully. In fact, I would suggest, if we want to look at a biblical character, I would suggest choose just like Daniel. You know the story of Daniel in the Old Testament, don't you? So actually, Daniel was basically your age. He was living a wonderful life in Jerusalem. And Daniel had dreams. He was young, just like you. He had dreams. He had dreams that he was going to go to a prestigious college and university. He had dreams that he was going to pursue a wonderful career. And he had dreams of marrying a beautiful wife and having these wonderful kids. And he had dreams of being involved in the local synagogue, the church. He wanted to do something great for God. I mean, he had these dreams. But something happened to Daniel. He was hauled off 1,600 miles away from his home in Jerusalem to a place called Babylon. And there he is living, and by the way, he never made it back home. There he is as this late teenager, maybe early 20s. And during the wet season, the rainy season of his life, Daniel makes, I think, perhaps the most critical, crucial choice and decision that impacted the rest of his life. You can find it in Daniel chapter 1, where in essence it says that Daniel determined in his heart that he would be faithful to God. He made that choice as a teenager, right about your age right now. And he stayed in that rut the rest of his life. And in fact, 60 years later, you might remember the story where the king sent out a decree and he said, listen, anybody that does not worship me, I'm going to drop in the den of lions. Now, let me ask you the question. Did Daniel change his habit? No, the decision that he made when he was a teenager, 60 years later, he's still following. He's still stuck in that rut. So he doesn't change. He still throws open the window at his home, still praying 3 times a day. He's not going to change. Why? Because he had determined in his heart that was a choice that he had made to be faithful to God. Listen, graduates, 2017, it's the same opportunity that you have here today. You now have the opportunity to make sure that the choices, the habits, the routines that you are making determine the ruts that you're going to be in the rest of your life. And if you choose good ones, they're going to take you a good direction. If you choose bad ones, they are very, very, very difficult to get out of. You know, Psalm 138 verse 8 is one of my favorites. God will fulfill his purpose for me. And God will fulfill his purpose for you. Let me end with this story. I love this story because I like the Summer Olympics. Do you guys like the Olympics at all? All the sporting events in the Olympics. So this is the Olympics that took place in Paris, France. And it took place quite a few years ago. You may remember the story, you may not. Pretty famous story. Story about a man by the name of Eric Liddell. Have you ever heard of this guy before? Have you ever heard of the movie Chariots of Fire? Have you heard this? So it doesn't matter if you know the movie, it doesn't matter if you know the story. I'm going to tell you the story because it is a profound story. So he's a Scottish man, obviously an athlete. And his dad's a missionary. Actually, they're missionaries in China. And part of the reason why we know him so well is because of this movie that came out 35 years ago called Chariots of Fire. This really talks about his life story. But I think one of the best lines in the movie, actually, is in the film, Eric's father, a missionary to China. In fact, Eric himself was born in China. The father tells the son, I want you to listen to this. Now, this is what the father says to his son Eric. This is powerful. He says, "You're the proud possessor of many gifts, and it is your sacred duty to put them to good use." Now, I have a feeling that your father and mother, your family that are here today, this weekend for your graduation, my sense is that they would probably want to say the exact same thing to you as well. I'm going to read this to you again. So this is Eric's father. It says, "You're the proud possessor of many gifts, and it's your sacred duty to put them to good use." But the best line in the movie, I think, is Eric Liddell's explanation as to why he runs. Listen to his explanation, because he's a runner, all right? Here's the explanation as to the reason why he runs. This is what he says. He says, "I believe God made me for a purpose, but he also made me fast, and when I run, I feel his pleasure." That's good, isn't it? It says, "I believe that God made me for a purpose, but he also made me fast, and when I run, I feel his pleasure." So let me tell you the story, in case you either forgot it or you don't know the story. So this is 1924, Eric Liddell, he is fast. And his best event is the 100-meter dash. That's what he's trained for. Thinks he's got a good chance of getting a gold medal at the Olympics. But there's a bit of a problem because he has to run a qualifying heat race to get into the finals. But they scheduled that qualifying race on his Sabbath. So here's Eric Liddell. He's just a young man. But during the rainy season of his life, he had made a choice. He had determined, just like Daniel, I'm going to be faithful to God no matter what, even when it comes to keeping the Sabbath. And so he made the crucial decision. He said, no, I'm not going to, they've scheduled it on my Sabbath. I am not going to run the race. So he's out of the 100-meter dash, which was one that they were almost guaranteeing, look, you're going to win the gold medal in this. But he decides, he said, well, look, I'm already here at the Olympics. I'm going to run in something. So he signs up for the 400-meter. And his friends are saying, oh, come on, Eric. You haven't trained for this. You don't have a chance in winning. I mean, your best chance was the 100-meter. Yeah, there's a good chance you're going to get the gold. But the 400, there's no way that you're going to win that. But he signs up, runs the 400, wins the gold medal. And that is what catapults him into fame. His refusal to run on the Sabbath, and then his winning the gold medal in the 400. Now listen, when the Olympics were over, he returns now back to China. Now he himself is a missionary. And 21 years after winning that gold medal, he dies in a Japanese concentration camp just before World War II ends. He dies as a missionary. But what I really like is some of his friends and family got together and they wrote a tribute, a testimony to Eric, this athlete who becomes a missionary, who gives his life in China. Listen to what they wrote concerning his life. They wrote these words and said, "Not for crowds, not for country, not for fame, not for glory, he ran for God." He ran for God. Not for crowds, not for country, not for fame, not for glory, he ran for God. Isn't that the way you want to live your life? To run for God? Whatever you do, do for Him. How did Liddell put it? Once again, I believe God made me for a purpose, but He also made me fast, and when I run, I feel His pleasure. Listen, graduates, 2017, God has a purpose for your life as well. So live for Him. Choose to run for Him. And when you do, you will feel His great pleasure for you. And someday, when you see Jesus face to face, He will peer into your eyes and breathe these words, "You done good. You done good." So congratulations, class 2017. God bless. And I, along with all your family and friends and faculty, are very, very proud of you.